Sorry,
All right, let's go ahead and
oh, no, that's okay.
call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second,
I'll second it.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0. Next up is the consent agenda. Anybody have any questions on it or things we need to review? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Nay.
All those opposed say same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1. Discussion items. Good news story and strategic plan. Well, I would be remiss if we didn't start with one of the good news stories is finally winning the state basketball title. So awesome to see everybody there. Just a great turnout, great game against a team that's been there 6 times in a row. So just a phenomenal turnaround since that's the team we lost to last year. But on the school side of it, I wanted to share, we had talked about graduation rates. I had a couple people ask me about, well, isn't our graduation rate higher? And it is, it's 95 to 98. But the cohort graduation rate was the one we talked about that went from 80 to 88. That's when we track kids for 4 years. So when they hit us as a freshman, it's how they come out. So it's the whole 4 years that we have to track them. So it's kind of like in college football, when they're tracking the graduation rates, if you enroll in that university as a freshman and you don't graduate, you count against it. So it's not just seniors. So that's that rate that's better than the state average at 88. We had another bit of good news involving kind of the same topic, and that's the FAFSA completion rate. So the financial aid that goes into colleges. The state average is at 33% and Middleton's at 39%. Right there, pushing at the top. The highest anybody is 40% in the SIC. So FAFSA graduation rates. So we are doing the right things on a day-to-day basis at our school. So thanks, everyone. Next discussion item is the superintendent search process. We have background checks this Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday afternoon, we should most likely be able to announce.
Background checks or reference?
Reference checks.
Thank you. And so Thursday afternoon, we can announce finalists if we want. We need to decide when we want to interview finalists. And maybe we want to have an open house like we had last time at night. If we want to try to, I guess the question is, do we want to try to do that before spring break? And if we did that, that would probably be on Monday or the Wednesday, probably on the Monday, if it would work for everybody. Or we could try to push it past spring break. So
I feel like we need to try and get it done sooner rather than later so that
I
our
agree.
candidates aren't applying other places and we're not losing. Like, I think to get our best candidate and get our stuff nailed down and moving forward, I would prefer to do it sooner rather than later. Like, if we could wrap it up before spring break, that would be awesome.
Yes, I agree.
But I don't know what everyone's schedule's like.
Yeah, I would prefer that as well. I won't be here. I'm leaving on the 18th till the 28th, but
would Monday the 15th work?
I can do Monday.
And we can check too if it's not, I mean, it's.
What time are you thinking?
I think so.
Well, I think it depends on finals, right? And when they could, or how.
Yeah, we'd have to reach out to the finalists, see if we could do something where we do,
Oh, that's cool.
we maybe bring them in, have a tour of a couple schools. We sit them down and then that night have a community meet and greet.
Okay.
And then we could either decide that night or we could we could, last time we did it, they came in, they saw some of the schools. We interviewed them, then we had the community, right?
No,
We had the
they did the community
community.
first because then Quinn read all the questions in here. My question, I guess, is do we need a community meet and greet? Like with COVID and all this stuff, like,
Yeah, I don't,
Oh,
I
yeah,
almost
that's
feel like-
true.
I almost feel like
It's true.
we sent out those surveys, the teachers and parent, like community, everyone's able to, if I were to ask a question, this is what I would get to ask.
Yeah.
So,
And there were good questions on there.
yeah, like I feel like,
I printed them.
I don't know, I guess for me personally, I know you talked a little bit about having a panel. I feel like if we did maybe more of a panel type and invited a couple other people to sit in and we asked questions off of here and included some of those, that would suffice. And maybe I'm totally wrong, but that would probably be my preference, just to streamline the process and keep it concise. I think having been through the process before, we kind of know what questions we need to ask more different types of questions to get the answers we really want. Instead of the canned, like the one that everyone practiced, we might need to do some more scenario type. In this situation, how have you responded or what, and play on some of those areas where we know how our community, kind of what they feel like to this survey when they took it, what their response were. Community involvement was a big issue, and honesty and integrity were some big things that I kept seeing coming up. So maybe address those areas. I don't know, just my thoughts.
I like that.
If we were not to do an open house, my preference would be to at least bring in some people from the community, some, people that we respect and are known in the community that could give some additional input and feedback.
What's
I
the,
guess,
oh, go ahead, Derek,
I
sorry.
don't know, I guess my only, not necessarily an issue, but the only concern that I have with that is who do you pick? And
Yeah.
That may not, someone say, well, why wasn't I involved? Why
Yeah.
wasn't I involved? And I think that could potentially be a slippery slope. That if you just, now it's different if it's somebody that's on the professional side, that has stuff that can bring to the table as far as that goes, but I guess the issue that you have with the community part of it is who do you determine in the community?
Yeah, and not be accused of playing
Yeah,
favorites.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So where,
To be fair with everyone.
so do you think we should still have a community open house or not? Just do the interviews and make the decision?
We have all the, we have.
Look,
Yeah, we have all the-
there's like 100 and
Like,
there's
people
some
who
good
wanted to ask the
questions.
Questions would,
Well, but you bring up a really good point. I mean, really, if we plan this, are people gonna show up because of COVID?
I
And
think they would.
possibly and they may or may not.
but do you think it's the same people who already submitted questions? Like the people that actually took the time to fill this out? I mean, I
Probably.
feel like those are the ones, right?
Most
Like,
likely.
I'm not trying to not involve everyone, but I'm also trying to, ultimately the decision lies with us. By state statute, that's our job, is to hire, and
Well, they have our emails.
they can,
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
well,
confident of that, so
There are some really good questions
if they
that
wanted
they
to add
asked.
something else,
I
I think.
I really think.
yeah. So I don't know,
I
maybe
think
I'm
you're
offending
probably
a lot of
right.
people, I don't know. I just,
No.
for the candidate's sake and for our sake, for our teachers and our administrators and our district as a whole, I think the sooner that we can button this up and say,
And move on.
we're ready, we're going, this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
I just think it would just help everyone settle back in and just get to work and let's be ready for what's next. But I also don't want to rush the process. I mean, if we do need more time or if that's, I don't know what.
If we want buy-in, would the MEA be important to bring into this process?
The MEA can get a hold of us at any time. They have their contacts and they can give us their feedback. They talk to people just like everyone else. Last time we went through this process, the ISBA was very clear that no one group should have a more input than another. So the MEA can have just as much input as our community.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it might look different because of who they associate with, but ultimately the state statute, our job is to hire the superintendent, and we welcome everyone's feedback equally. So we can't give more weight to other people's opinions.
So we think we could probably do that the 15th, is that?
I'll make it work.
I think I can make that work.
So as long as the candidates after, and we'll be able to nail that down after Thursday's reference checks,
Yeah.
we can have discussion and then decide and reach out to whoever our
We
finalists
can-
are and see.
Well, I can reach out to them all and just say, hey, if you were a finalist, would you be available the 15th? I can do that beforehand. If I just ask everybody the same question, it's not a, if you were a finalist, would you be available on the 15th? If I ask all four of them the same question, we're not breaking any rules.
And then how would we like that to look? Tour the district, come in, interview each of them? Or, I mean, what should that look like?
I do think our search committee could finalize that.
Maybe
Okay,
you want us to figure out.
Also, on that, well, what do you think? I've never done this before, so I'm fine with whatever.
I think it depends how many finalists we have.
Yes, that's
So
true.
will kind of dictate how the afternoon would flow.
I do want them to come early enough that they can tour the district. I think that's important to be able to let them
Oh,
see
absolutely.
and
And see
kind of
the
meet us a
growth,
little
I
bit
guess.
and just, kind of have that generalized discussion. And then we just need to finalize our questions we're gonna ask and then go
So
from there.
Monday, we just made,
So we can't give them a tour. It has to be somebody other than a board member, because ISBA did it last time. So
Right.
we don't create a relationship with one over the other as they see our school district. Then we would,
how do you do that?
Can we have someone at ISBA do that?
We'd have
I
to
can reach out
plan.
to them and see.
I think
Yeah.
Lori gave the tour last time.
I think you're right, yeah.
It's just-
I think
Okay.
she did.
So we can pick a staff member.
A staff member or a senior or?
Well, to go to the different building, I think Lori's good. I think
I
that's
think
right. I
Lori
think that
would
is
be
who did
good.
it last time. Cause she has access.
We just need to
keys,
make
like,
sure
doesn't
she
have to
can
bother
do
me with
it.
the keys, so she can.
Yeah,
take us
she'd
all.
be willing to do it.
Okay, I can follow up with her and ask if you want me to, just see if she's available then. And then what time, just whenever they can get here, or what time do you wanna start the meeting that Monday?
Is this gonna be an individual thing, each person coming in, or is it everybody's in and?
Each one comes
They
in.
come in, and then we discuss, and then the next one comes in and we discuss, and then we have our end discussion, and then.
God, we're gonna need a lot of tacos or something to get.
Just go ahead and call the Mi Pueblito guy. I don't remember.
What's your
what it's
schedule, Derek?
Senior
I can see your mind
That's it.
going over there. What,
I mean, I'm slammed from here, but I'll do the best I can.
is Monday feasible for you? If we
It's
just,
feasible, but
called. You might be in
I
and
can't do an
out.
all day.
right, well,
That's
you don't
for
have
sure.
to. So if we just start at like 6?
I could.
In the morning?
No.
It's like, wait,
No.
what? What are
Early.
you talking about?
If we start at 5:30-ish,
Yeah, I can make that for you.
5:30 on Monday, the 15th.
Yeah.
That gives them, if the candidates can come earlier, do their tours and stuff, we start at 5:30. Even if you, like, I don't know how long a
Should we
typical
do
interview
dinner?
is,
Do we
like an hour.
Do we want to start earlier than 5:30, or is it 5:30 that kind of what you need at the end of the day? What's-
It's just so tough for me because
Afternoon.
between different. I mean, I would say probably the earliest I could start would be 5:00. Mondays are really bad for
Okay, let's,
coming off a weekend.
Do you want to do it
Oh, yeah. I
Tuesday?
bet.
or Wednesday?
it's worse. Monday is the best day, I think.
Yeah, I
Tuesday would be
mean,
better.
I'll make happen what needs to
Could we do
happen.
Tuesday the 16th? Could you do Tuesday the 16th?
Monday's the day. I think Monday's the day. I mean,
The
Okay.
majority,
This schedule's not good.
majority's good on Monday, and then I'll do the very best I can.
Okay, so we're gonna say the 15th of March at 5:30, we'll start interviews for finalists.
So that'll be conducted in executive session and a special meeting.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm gone that day, but,
The tour should be done during the workday? or-
yes. So we'll see if Lori,
Do
so,
those first,
Uh-huh.
and then the interview?
yeah, so we
So we
need
can
to,
set that up.
yeah, and I'll check with Lori and then we'll check with all the candidates ahead of time, make sure that they're available. If Gina can't be here, Cheryl, you can
I
step
can
in
be
as
here.
board clerk, is that, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Clear as mud?
Totally.
Good shape.
If there's any details that Pam and I left out, or the ISBA calls and says, hey, we'll go through Gina and
yeah.
she can coordinate with everybody else.
Question, are we gonna come up with questions we are asking, do we do that now, or we do that?
So we should,
Because I had some ask if they could have questions beforehand, the references.
so I think between now and our Thursday meeting, we should be looking at references.
Well, Wednesday too, Wednesday
Yeah.
night.
No one's doing
So I would like to send them out tomorrow to them, just so they have,
To the,
to the
Reference.
people who are referenced, yes. I had one asking specifically.
And are we only doing like 4 questions per candidate? I mean, these should be no more than 15-minute
Oh,
calls. Like, they
oh,
gotta be
yes,
pretty
no,
like,
they're booked out 15 minutes, so. I have the paper. Do you want me to read them to you guys?
I didn't like the ones on the paper, quite honestly. Like, I would prefer to ask them, like, is there a time when you had a disagreement or that with that person or that person you saw disagree, how did they handle it? Like,
That's a
you
good
know, 'cause
question.
everyone, whether you're a parent or a teacher or a supervisor or had supervised that person, usually there's a time where, you know, they've interacted in some way. Like, to me, that's the kind of information that's gonna be helpful to me,
So-
but.
so we can't email together as a group, but we could email. We could
We can
email.
email to Gina. Gina can compile a list and send it out, right?
Yep, so we'll,
Can I have it like before
Yeah, we'll do this.
Wednesday,
yeah, let's
please?
let's put our heads together on some questions we want, give them to Gina, and then, yeah, we can, and the search committee can finalize them.
Okay,
You guys have that power.
Okay, well, that works. Okay, and we'll come up with questions for, we could do that Thursday, right, for Monday?
So the
Following
finalists
Monday.
will be the same thing, start to be thinking about questions we want. So then we have to ask all the same questions.
I would honestly
Individual.
suggest going through the survey and reading, there's some really well-written
really good
questions in there that I think kind of might be a good resource.
and you can pull those out if you want, if you can copy and paste or whatever, and send those to Gina, and she can
Yes.
just copy, and then she gets.
I think I will do that, because I photocopied them, I've started highlighting.
Yeah, I would,
What I
if you wanna just
like.
copy and paste them into another document and send it to Gina, then Gina can send them out to the rest of us, and we can all look at
Okay,
them too.
that's
And then we can
probably the
add
best
to or
way,
subtract
thank you.
from, or
I appreciate that.
something like that. Is everyone good with that?
Yes. Because it's kind of hard to think of them right here, I get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other discussion items, questions?
The last thing I had was, originally I thought we were gonna give them the number to call in, but if we're like running behind and someone else calls in, they'll be able to just tap in to the conversation that's going. So,
Okay, well, maybe I can just let them know, I will text them when they're ready.
well, that's kind of what I told mine, or I wondered if we could just have them call in, like, since they already have my cell phone number put on speaker, would that work? What's the best way to do that, I guess, is what I'm asking,
I think probably just let them know you will text them when we're ready.
and then have them dial in.
Mhm.
That might work.
And don't give the number ahead of time,
Yeah,
just
I did
say,
it.
we're ready for you, call this number.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I haven't given.
I gave 2 of mine the number, because I was
Did
like,
you?
here's all the information you need, call in at this time, but
Oh, I
they
was,
still said, text us and remind us, and I'm like,
I
okay.
told mine, I'm like, I will send you a reminder with the number to call, so.
Since the discussion about the YMCA, I know Chris had that information. Does anybody else have that information, or not as much? It's,
We can table it.
yeah, that's what.
Is there no attachments? There's nothing.
You know, there wasn't.
Okay.
What do you kind of know about it?
So she had talked to me about that there was a potential partnership with the Y on like Fridays, that the Y would, come in and do some activities or, have some activities at our school. We wouldn't pay for it. It might be like $39 a kid, or
Mhm.
I think they can take them over to swim or do some archery and do some other things. But it was a way to make some things available on Friday that's not available right now since we don't have school. But and the YMCA has a program for that. So
Do
she's
they
been doing
bus
some
kids?
research
Do
on
they
it.
bus kids?
Yes,
Yeah.
so typically, there used to be, I think it's called the 21st Century Grant, and
Gotcha.
we had written that in the past. They tried writing again and didn't get it because it's based on your Title I. I think that plays a big role in it, and we don't have a high Title I population here. So she knows some people who have, she's worked with in the past who are now working for the YMCA. And they said, let's look at this, let's see, because we had told parents, Fridays, we'll try and come up with something since we don't have extra or after school activities and stuff a lot. So she had reached out to the people she knows at the YMCA, and they had started looking at proposals. And I think what she wanted from us was just, is that something the board's interested in? We feel like she should pursue to get more specifics to bring back to us is, yes, run the numbers. Let's see if we can make this feasible and present it to the district, or if it's something that we're not interested in at all. So I think what it was is if they could use our facilities at no cost, so they would come and bring their staff to our schools on Fridays and do stuff, but they would also have access to the YMCA facilities for things like swimming lessons and archery and rock climbing and things like that. So the only cost would be that. And I think she said they were thinking around $36-ish per kid, but they didn't know, I don't know, all
Per
that
kid,
stuff.
per month, per,
I don't know if it's per day. She said it was a little high, but they
Per
were
day?
trying to work it. It is pretty high, but like if you have to pay swimming lessons, it just depends. So she said they're still, like, that was just what she threw out there. I don't know how, nailed down that is. I think what she wanted to know is just where our interest level was. If she thought that it was something the community, it would be helpful to the community if we're willing to let them use our schools and on Fridays, or if that's not.
I think, from looking at it at a school angle, it's like, okay, it's not really educational, it's not a thing, but for the support of the community and those families that do need maybe some, I don't want to say babysitting or daycare, but somewhere for their kids to
well,
go
it's
during
good for
the
them to
day.
have something
Yeah,
positive.
I think it's worth looking at a little bit
Yes.
deeper to see if that's a viable option to have some kids. Plus, you know what, if we can pull some kids away from Xbox or
Yeah.
PS,
We're just not so
whatever the next
Yes,
generation is.
I agree.
Yeah, you have
I think it would,
two parents working,
Yeah.
yes.
it'd be an option. So,
Yeah, I think it's worth looking at.
Last discussion item was the school calendar.
It's not attached on mine.
I know that
Weird.
the committee met, you know more about it than I do, Alicia. but-
So the committee met and went over the calendar. They originally felt like they were going to ask for some different feedback, and ultimately they said with COVID and because of all the changes, they really felt like for consistency reasons that we needed to keep the calendar basically the same. So it's still Fridays off. There's no virtual Fridays. There's still a week at Thanksgiving. The only difference that you're going to notice is Christmas break is a little bit different. You come back January 3rd and get out December 16th. And that's just kind of how
To go with the finals, is that,
that's just kind of how the holidays fell to get the 2 weeks there. But I think other than that, everything else is pretty typical. Start date is August 17th, which is typical. Some people had questions as to why it was so early. A lot of it's based on the high school schedule. For our schedule to align with dual credits, they have to match
Oh.
those college. And because of our Thanksgiving breaks and to get the same number of days in the first part of the semester as the second semester, if you don't start clear until September to get those finals done before Christmas break, you don't have enough days. Those kids are getting cut on hours versus the kids who take that class second semester. They're getting a lot more. So to
Makes
keep
sense.
finals before Christmas and to align with the dual credits with the colleges, that's kind of what drives the calendar to an extent. There's some wiggle room, but they did have discussion. But ultimately just decided to keep it to what it was for another year, and then we can really evaluate it I did ask, going forward, the board has the option of approving a 1 or 2 year calendar. This year, it was a last minute conversation between me and Lisa Pennington, and I said, next year, it'd be nice if we could propose a 2 year, meaning at least the bones would be there for 2 years for planning purposes. It's even on the news lately that campgrounds and stuff for Idaho are filling up. They're full, like already for the summer. Like it's just, people just need more time to plan. And so I think to be respectful of our community. The other thing that was kind of a hiccup was, because of timing and COVID and different things, I would like to see different parents from the community who aren't employed by the district sitting on that calendar committee to make sure that we have outside input.
It's a good idea.
And so there's different avenues that we can look at to help ensure that that happens. But I think for the most part, the teachers, they worked good. They have teachers and stuff that sit on this committee, and this is what they brought.
Makes sense.
I think next year I think it'd be nice to have a 2 year calendar. I think that would just be helpful for families planning, just place everything. I think next January, we should probably start that committee to look at it. I also think we should poll the community again if they want to stick with this 4 day week, if they want to go back to a 5 day week. I know there's been discussion out there back and forth.
Or shorten the day
And
somehow.
so,
It's so
or would it
long.
change days and all those things? So I think
Especially
next
because
January,
it's-
let's get a normal year starting. See what this 4 day work week looks like with no virtual Fridays and kind of solidify that, and then get involved with our community and our teachers to figure out, okay, are we permanently set on a 4 day week? Does a 5 day week make sense? And if it's a 4 day week, then does this schedule with the length of day, can you take out some of the Thanksgiving break and, make some days shorter, or
Or do you get wild and make like K through 5 days and the older
No,
kids?
oh my gosh.
Come on, think outside the box just a little bit.
I think next January we can take a deeper dive in it. And right now it's like, let's just take a look at this.
Well, and who knows what's
Well,
gonna
we're
happen.
coming
with
out of COVID, and I think the
Yes.
important thing to look at with this schedule is, can we improve the quality of education our kids are getting on a 4 day work week with everybody in school and teachers having full days on that Friday to prepare for the next week and get all squared away. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about the quality of education versus how many days of the week we go to school.
Yeah,
And
I
if it's,
agree with that.
and that goes back to length of day, right? Like I said, are those kids still absorbing at the end of the day?
Yes,
They're
it's a
exhausted.
long day.
So, action items. First one is the policies, section 2000. It's instruction piece, first reading. Does anybody have any highlighted changes, or is anybody getting input from Kristen?
Well, the committee met and, made their changes.
Changes in it?
Which you'll see, I know the curriculum committee in our meeting today actually referenced some of these policies. So some of these have to do with curriculum adoption, which is actually outlined in state statute, who sits on that committee, how it's implemented, what's included. So all that's addressed in these policies as well. And then we still have to do a second and third reading. So as you look over them over the next little while, if there's questions or things you see, we can always address them next time. But I didn't have anything.
Nothing jumped off the page to me, but it's more of a X and O's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it
Day-to-day.
didn't seem like there was a lot of, as far as I got.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to do it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the first reading for policy section 2000s.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. The second action item is the school calendar, which we just discussed, so
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the 2022 school calendar.
Second.
any more discussion? None. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. With that, we have a short piece of business we need to take care of an executive session.
I make a motion that we go into executive session per Idaho Code 74-2061A to consider hiring a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent wherein the respective qualities of individuals are to be evaluated in order to fill a particular vacancy or need. This paragraph does not apply to filling a vacancy in an elective office or deliberations about staffing needs in general. B, to consider the evaluation or dismissal or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent or public school student.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote going in?
Trustee Moore,
Yes.
trustee Dempsey,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee McConkey,
Yes.
trustee Adams.
Yes. Now in executive session. I would entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second,
I'll second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. I would entertain motion on an action resulting of executive session.
I would like to make a motion that the board release employee 03082101 from their contract.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries 5-0. See you guys Wednesday.